Hello everybody, it's Julia with Senior Susie Stamps, and I'm glad you're with me today. I wanted us to take a few minutes today and look at a Take 10 article that I found in the Stampers Sampler Take 10, and it was the summer 2012 issue, and it's this one. Was called Mad for Plaid, and it was on page 56 and 57. Now, the person whose cards these were, it was Susan Pagnucci of Barnes, Wisconsin, and she has hand-carved these little bee stamps. Of course, I don't have something like that in my studio, so I thought today we would take this concept and try to adjust it to different mediums and use stickers and stamps and what have you, but I just thought it was a very interesting card, and I thought it would be fun maybe once a month to do a magazine review and try to adjust it to the stamps that I have in my studio, because I have a lot of used stamps, and you may very well have some of the very same ones that I have. Now, these stripes that she has on her cards are hand punched, and I didn't have anything like that, but I did have a border punch that has little small flower images on it, and these little squares here look like they might be about a 1/4 inch square, and I'm going to use a 1/2 inch square punch. So with this in mind, let's get started. I like to work off a first layer separate sheet rather than my card base. So I have an A2 card base. I have a second layer sheet that's 3 3/4 by 5, and then I have some stickers from the Dollar Tree. I have my little punched thing, my little punched stencil thing. And I have a clear stamp that I'm going to hand impress down on that. I also have 4 different inks. I have my little punched guide for the little squares, and I have 7 or 8 cards to show you. I'll do that in just a minute when we finish with this one. So I want to flip this one over and figure out what my starting point's going to be, and I believe it's going to be this little hand stamp. I'm going to use some Memento Black today. I'll get these punches out of the way because we won't need them. I've already done the punching that needs to be done. I'm just going to take this in my hand and pick some spots that I want to ink on it and put them somewhere. Not paying any attention particularly to where they go, but I do want some kind of a little semblance of interesting pattern here. Now, I don't want to cover the entire thing, because one of the things about that card that was interesting to me was the amount of white space that she left on her card. And I always try to use a little white space. Sometimes I'm more successful than others, but today, this is all we're going to do. Let me get a baby wipe. I forgot that little spot because I need to clean up this little ink here where I won't get it all over everything. Because you know me, I can do it. I think that may be all the black we're going to need. Let's go ahead and put a little ink through this stencil, and I think we're going to run it up and down just a little bit. I've got 3 colors. These are all mementos, except for one Stampin' Up! Color. I've got Pear Tart, Rosebud. Oh, I forgot I got 2 Stampin' Up! Colors. Heather, Highland Heather, and Tempting Turquoise. I'm not sure exactly where we're going with this, but we'll go somewhere. I guarantee you that. Okay, so I'm just going to ink through this in kind of a stripy fashion. And it doesn't bother me if I come over the edge just a little bit. Because I think part of the interest in that was the way she just kind of left her edge. So there's one color down. You can see that these cards don't take any time at all to make. And I will tell you this. I went a little bit overboard with my cards this week. I could have stopped, and then I couldn't stop because I couldn't stop thinking about this technique and all of the possibilities that it has. And I think when you start seeing the cards that I've made, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. So there's a little more color, and let's try the Tempting Turquoise because I think it will really make this other side over here pop quite a bit. It's such a lovely color. And all I'm doing is just scrubbing some color on there. I think we do need just a little bit of that Highland Heather in there. So let's add just a touch. Oh, I don't need much. But what I need is that drag that comes down in there, I think. Just a little bit. There. Now we have kind of a spring edition of that card. And I want to put some little black squares in to kind of use them to anchor your eye moving around. And I'm going to do that with my little sponge dauber here. And it doesn't have to be completely black, but I do like to have it dark enough that it carries your eye throughout the entire piece. Some of these that I've done, I have blacked the outside or put a black border piece under. See how adding that black really jazzes that up a little bit? Now, let me cover up some stuff here, and we'll get finished putting this card together because you'll see in just a minute how easy it is to do. I think we'll use, let me cut these flowers apart because you know I kind of like to do it that way. I think the white is totally worthless on that, and I don't think we need 3. We're going to use these 2 today. Alright, now around the outside I do think I'll black that just a little bit, and I thought I had my black pen out, but I guess I put it up, so here it is. Let's put just a little dark around this edge here, and you've seen me do this 100 times before, I know. I like to do this just to add a little bit of extra dimension and stop your eye from rolling around too much. Now, one of the things that I have done with the other cards is to put some washi tape around the edges, and we'll see that in just a minute. And I want to do it this way. This is a top folding card. I'm going to put a little extra glue on the foam on these just to help them grip a little bit. I don't remember when I got this set of little flowers. Sometimes I get things from the Dollar Tree and they stay in the studio for a long time, so I always try to give them a little assistance. Maybe not like that. And now we're ready for a little sentiment if we want to put one. Some of them I have, some of them I haven't. But that looks like a nice little thinking of you card to me. So let me see about finding a sentiment. Hang on. Okay, I think we'll use a simple little sentiment to my friend. And I think I will do that Highland Heather around the outside of this one, just to give it a little extra color, because it seems a little stark white to me. And this is a divergence from the original card in the magazine, because she didn't have any sentiment at all on hers. But that's one of the nice things about doing a study piece like this. You can do whatever you want to with it and make it your own. And I'm going to add just a little more color on that. This little sentiment came out of my sentiment notebook, and I've done two things this year differently in my studio, and one of them is creating that little sentiment notebook. It has been a real boon, and I encourage you all to think about doing that if you haven't already. I got those little baseball card notebook inserts, and whenever I stamp sentiments, I always try to stamp 3 or 4 and put them in that notebook where they're handy and I can just pull them out. Makes a huge difference. So let's look at this now. I don't know. I'm thinking down here might be maybe the best spot for that. Let's do it, and I'm going to glue it down flat. Yes, I'm going to glue it down flat. And I'm going to let the flowers be the only elevation on this card. I'm going to pull it off that way just a little bit. And bring this back where it's not glued down. Right there where it won't be bending over. I'm trying to waste some of that glue that might be on the edge there by using my tweezer to go back and pick it up. There, we'll let that dry for just a second now. Now I think it's straight now. Okay. Let me look for some washi tape. Hang on a minute. So I'm going to use a little bit of black and white. And I'm going to tear it so that we don't get the actual film image here. So that it's only partial. And I probably don't need a piece quite that long. But I'm going to go all the way to the edge here. Let's see how that looks. I think using washi tape allows you to experiment. Now I think I'll put another contrasting piece up here. Possibly one down here. That little bit of black and white just really makes a difference on this card, doesn't it? And there we go. So I'm going to burnish that down with my bone folder. And we're almost ready to see the rest of these cards. But this is the way you can use what you have in your studio to make a beautiful card that looks totally different like what was in that magazine. However, it is the same card. It's the same format. So let's look at the rest of these that I've got here, and I'll kind of walk you through what I did with each one. So hang on just a second, let me get them. Okay, so this is the first one I did, and if you remember, let me pull my magazine back out. You remember last week we made these little bookmarks, and I told you I took the top piece off of these 2 bookmarks that I made using those stickers from the Dollar Tree. Well, this is the piece I took off of the 2 different stickers that I used. And so that follows this card pretty closely. There's some differences, of course. This was an actual stencil that I used. I used 3 different inks and the 2 little butterflies, a little bit of washi tape, and some stamps to finish this card out. And there's nothing on the inside of that one. Now on this one, I did the ink pickup off the stencil. I used that same set of stamps and a little different washi tape, and the card's done. Now these little dots are diamond dots. There's red ones on this one, and then these kind of periwinkle colored ones that go with the butterfly here on that one. And then this one I decided to change it up, and I used some 2-inch washi tape that I colored with alcohol markers, and then I just tore strips and put down, and that was my solution to the strips that were on the card. And then I went to my sticker book and found some stickers based on those colors, which is a little backwards way to do it, but it worked. And I found this birthday cake and these little presents. I just put a little highlighting underneath the cake to anchor it down and put some pretty little pink gems on there, and that card's done. I used the leftover pieces of washi tape that were off the tears to do the outside of that card. Now on this one, I found the stickers first, and then I went to my washi tape and found some washi tape that kind of went with those stickers, and that was the starting point for this. So in the thought process of using what I had, I went to the stickers, went to the washi tape, and there's the finished card. This uses that same stamp that I used originally, which is a Kaisercraft stamp, and I added a bunch of little dots, and it's done. The inside, I just had a little cutoff strip to put on that one. Let's see. Now this one, of all of them, is probably my least favorite card, but it does use the same concept. There's 2 pieces of washi tape, and then this sticker had this long run of flowers, so I let that be my 3rd stripe, and I added a little second sticker on there, and instead of doing stamps on the background, I did flowers. And the card works, I just don't particularly happen to like it. You may not either, and it may be trash, I don't know. This was ink drag, and again, I used my little square stencil that I made with punches. This is just a little bit of washi tape here. There is some black glitter that I drug down in there, and 3 different colors of ink, and all I did was the drag. And then I added my die cut and the little gems on there. So it's the same card format now. Let's see, here's one that turned out nicely. This was a punched piece, and I did my drag over top of it, and then the piece itself was so pretty with that ombre drag that I went back in with some embossing powder that had, it's a holographic embossing powder, and you can probably see how shiny that is. And then I had a little butterfly that I had gotten from Paper Wishes years ago, an acetate butterfly, and this came out of my little word stamps that I've shown you before. And for the background, I just used this stamp and did partial stamping on it to pull it all together. And then the last one is the one that you and I just made. We did the color drag and the 2 flowers that kind of coordinate with those colors, and the little black dots, and the little pieces of washi tape and a sentiment. So there you go. Cards are done. They're easy to do. This was a great little article, and it's a fun technique to have in your toolbox, even though you don't have the exact things that were here for this card. So I hope y'all have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, y'all.